Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a good day, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be a moderator for this UiTM PRGS 2022 sessions with the topic Tips for Successful PRGS Grant Application, which organized by PT and CPI with Research Nexus UiTM, ReNeU, and Research Management Center RMC UiTM. I am Azliyana Azizan, the coordinator from Social Innovation and Creativity, Research Nexus UiTM. On behalf of organizing committee, would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. I strongly believe that you all have been attended our previous PRGS talk and gained some information from it. But for today, we brought a very special panel. And just to remind all the participants that this is our last PRGS sharing session and we are very close to the deadline. We hope you will learn a lot today and we have lined up for you to be a very fruitful and engaging in this series. Before we start our event, I would like to remind all participants to mute your microphone throughout the session, and the Q&A session will be conducted at the end of the presentation. Thus, if you have any suggestion or questions, please write it in the chat box. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our speaker for today is Yang Berbahagia Datin Professor Dr. Ruzy Suliza Hashim, who will be shared some tips on successful PRGS grant application. Moving right along, it's now my pleasure to read a very short one, the biography from our speaker. Yang Berbahagia Datin Professor Dr. Ruzy Suliza Hashim is a professor of literature at the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities and a director of UKM Press. Currently, she is the head of Social Harmony and Economic Cluster at the Research Division, Ministry of Higher Education. She is also a college member of UK Research and Innovation, where she evaluates international research proposals annually. Without further delay, I would like to welcome Datin Professor Dr. Ruzy Suliza Hashim. So, okay, Prof, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Azliyana. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I'm pleased to see some of you are interested in submitting a proposal for PRGS 2022. Because you've from Dr. Azliyana's welcoming speech just now, I realized that you've had sessions before, so I'm not sure how much the things I'm going to tell you will be, whether they'll be repetitive from what you've heard before. Okay, so but I am part of the technical committee that decides that will sit with the Ketua Pengarah when we decide whether to, how much is allocated, and the final decision to endorse those who are successful with the grant application. So I sit in that committee, and I sit also in the I evaluate the initial proposals, and then we will vet and see which ones will go on further to the second step where you will present. So I also sit in that committee. And I work with various other professors. I don't know whether you know Professor Roslan and Professor Rashid from USM. So normally the three of us, not the three witches, but the three assessors, and we will shortlist the applications, and then we will have the final. We will listen to the presentations before we decide which ones will get awarded the grant, maximum of 500,000 ringgit. Okay, so I will start. Let me try and share because I'm not PowerPoint. Okay, you can see, right? Yeah.
Yes, it's coming, Prof.
Okay, all right.
And put in the slideshow mode. Yeah, clear.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, so let me know if what I'm saying is repetitive. I do not want to go like in my grants system. I do have access to all the people that we have granted and not granted, but to show them to you would not be ethical. So, but if you have questions later on, to I can possibly provide some feedback about, how you can make your proposal attractive to us that we want to give you the money. Okay. Right. So first we have to understand the vision and mission of PRGS. So I'm sorry if my slides are a mix of BM and Malay because the document that KPT has is in Malay, and then sometimes I write in English. Anyway, it is the vision of PRGS. So EPU allocates money to the Ministry of Higher Education for FRGS, PRGS, TRGS, and LRGS. So this year, they will provide funding for all four, except for LRGS, which will not be advertised this year because it was advertised last year. So I do not know how many people from UiTM applied, but all these proposals have not been evaluated yet. The RGS will be announced very, very soon, I think. Today, KPT called all the RMCs for a briefing for the RGS. Anyway, so the vision is to transform knowledge for the benefit of the country's glory. Okay, before you apply, I like to suggest that you read carefully the Garis Panduan Scheme Geran Penyelidikan Pembangunan Prototype. I think it's available online. We did very minor changes for 2022. So basically it's almost the same like the last year. So please read this carefully because sometimes when you make mistakes that actually should not have been made, and it's because you have not read the Garis Panduan, then most of the time the assessor will just give you technical knockout. Because the Garis Panduan is there for you to look at and study. So they think that if you have not carefully, for example, like if you put in money for say, presentation, for conference, it's not allowed. So that means you have not read it, so they will give you technical knockout. Okay. So this grant is for 1 or 2 years with a ceiling of 500,000. This is, I think, PRGS 1.0. I think last year or maybe the year before, they also had PRGS 2.0, and that one, the ceiling is 1 million. But I'm not sure whether it's being offered this year or not. Okay. So at the moment, it's just PRGS 1.0. Ceiling is 500,000. So anyway, I think for us to remember, if you look at the mission, is penciptaan teknologi baru, meaning they want us to be innovative. Often the money that KPT gets from EPU, they always say, okay, what new technologies, so what new products have we have people in the universities produced? Because there have been lots of money, I think billions that they have given to us, and whether we have managed to do something that's cutting edge. Okay. So let's understand the falsafah because for each of the grant, FRGS, LRGS, TRGS, there's slightly some different wordings for the philosophy and the definition. So for the falsafah, kebanyakan hasil penyelidikan prototype tidak dapat tidak dapat dikomersialkan kerana hasil penyelidikan masih di peringkat awal. Untuk kesinambungan, skim PRGS diwujudkan untuk membantu merapatkan jurang antara penemuan penyelidikan dan pengkomersialan bagi tujuan penciptaan teknologi baru selaras dengan keperluan ekonomi dan pelaksanaan model ekonomi baru. So if you see from the falsafah, from the philosophy, it is to reduce the gap between findings of our fundamental research and its potential for commercialization. Okay, and it must be relevant to K economy and the new economic model. So therefore, we have to remember that whatever we do must be relevant to the country's needs, not just the needs of our disciplines. And then definisi dana yang diwujudkan bagi pembangunan prototipe untuk merapatkan jurang di antara penemuan makmal penyelidikan sehingga sebelum pengkomersialan. Ini termasuklah pembuktian konsep, proof of concept, evaluation, upscaling, preclinical testing and field testing. Okay, so they are not giving you the money, meaning it's not that you have the product and it's ready to go to be commercialized. So there are there are 9 TRLs. I think it's until TRL 5 that they are funding you. So they hope that with the prototype you are able to upscale it further, but not with the money that they're giving you this time. Okay, first of all, you have to identify which is the area for your, which NPA, which research cluster and which research domain. So you need to tick one, and I'm sure you all know this, because, and please tick the right one, because whichever you tick your proposal will be sent to that group of evaluators. Okay. So under NPA, okay, I know NPA, I am from the social sciences, from actually English literature, and I don't see myself in the NPA. So for those of you who are in the social sciences, we are quite relaxed with this thing, like you can just take anything. It's hard to, there isn't even education here. So it's always hard. I find it hard that we have been erased from national priority areas, but that's this list has been decided by MOSTI, so we can't do anything about it. So we have power to state what research clusters we have and our research domain. So the social and economic well-being, and I'm the head for this. Okay, I'm the head for social and economic well-being, food safety and security, infrastructure, climate change and environment, health, education in knowledgeable civil society, national security, frontier technologies, and advanced manufacturing. And then we've got the research domains: pure and applied science, technology engineering, social science, transformation and communication technology, clinical and health science, arts and applied arts, natural and cultural heritage. So I am actually, for FRGS, I head this section. But for PRGS, they will combine social science and arts and applied arts. Okay, and they'll go under social and economic well-being. Okay, so first of all, you have identified where you position yourself as a researcher, where you want to be. Okay, before that, whatever you take here must be reflected also in your migrants profile. So let's say you want to do something on national security, for example, it must be shown through either your publications, whatever research that you have, that you are that this is your research cluster. So make sure that whatever you take in the research cluster and research domain are reflected in your migrants profile, because we will always look at migrants profile and see whether they match whatever you have taken. Okay. And then because if you remember just now, the mission is to help the country for certain gaps that we have. Therefore, for each of us, each of the applicant must tick. There are 3, and I think you all know there's the 10 by 10 matrix. Okay, and also I've only got the socioeconomic. So there are 10. There's if you look at the STIE document, there's 10 for science and technology, and 10 for socioeconomy. Okay, so you need to take which one do you have fulfilled or you want to fulfill. Okay, and then of course you need to take also this what they call Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama, WKB, or I forget what's the English term for it now. Anyway, there are 15 KEGAs. KEGA stands for Key Economic Growth Activities. So you also need to take one of this, whether it's Islamic Finance Hub 2.0 or Digital Economy, Industrial Revolution, Content Industry, ASEAN Hub, Halal and Food Hub, Commodity Malaysia 2.0, and so on. Okay, so you need to take this as well. And the third one that you need to, your research also needs to address SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17, but KPT has got 18, okay? So the 18th one is called Societal Harmony and Happiness, and that's the one I look after. I look after this SDG for KPT, okay? So if you're, I'm not sure whether you're in the social sciences or sciences, but if your product is mapped towards societal harmony and happiness, we'll be very happy to fund you, okay? Right, so scheme penyelidikan, the tujuan, I think, yeah, I already said it just now. It's to, okay, you can apply for PRGS if you had previously finished FRGS or any other fundamental grant from your university. Okay, you must have a prior research. You cannot apply for PRGS without having any prior research before this. So they do not want you to start from scratch. It is a continuation of a previous research. Okay, and the research that if you had received PRGS or whatever research you have done is 100% completed. Okay, so penyelidikan lanjutan hasil daripada grant bersifat fundamental, so it must be a fundamental grant. So let's say because some of our research is translational, meaning we're doing something and we will transfer that knowledge to the society or to whatever agency. So that one is translational. So that one will not be considered. So if you had put in, if we look at your report for previous, I think I will show you later, previous research, you must show that it was a fundamental research that you finished, not a translational research. Okay. So first, I think before you even think about submitting an application, I need to understand the TRL. Okay, technology readiness level, because I think you need to reach for PRGS you will go up until 5, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so TRL 1 is basic principle, technology research, pure science begins transition to R&D, and then formulation of concepts. So you start from 3, you have done something and you will, with the grant, you are able to go up to 5. Okay, so 5 means validation in relevant environment, ready to enter technology development. Okay, so please understand, if let's say this is, you do not understand what it means for this, perhaps, you need to discuss with I don't know whether you got an office, if like UKM, we got what we call UKM Tech office. And there we can discuss, what level is my research now, and is it okay that I want to apply for this grant? I'm in the social sciences and I find it difficult, I find it difficult to produce anything, not like the sciences. Sciences, they can produce so many things, like produce vaccine, for example, for those in medical research, or for people engineering, people in ICT, producing apps. But for many of us, so I can understand, always the technology engineering cluster, they'll have hundreds of applications, but I finish evaluation, like for example, in half a day, because there's only 3 or 4 people applying, so, or at the end of it, we only have 3 or 4 people going to the second level. So I know it's very hard, so I'm not saying that it's easy. Okay, setiap projek penyelidikan mesti memfailkan sekurang-kurangnya 1 harta intelek setahun selepas dimulakan. Because once, let's say you get your grant, say in June this year, by June next year, you'll be evaluated. You have to present. You have to attend the first progress evaluation. And when you normally by then, some people would have already submitted filed 1 harta intelek. So try and think, can you manage to do this? So those who are choosing 1 year, it's almost impossible, I think, to file in 1 year. So what do they mean by harta intelek? Patent, hak cipta, reka bentuk perindustrian, industrial design, geographical indication, layout, design of an integrated circuit, or trade secret. Okay, let's say you are, if you're in the faculty of health sciences, and you want to, you got we had a student last year who from the health sciences, and he was doing his PhD with us, and he tested clinically this pill made from what is it, daun salam. Is it daun salam? And it's been shown, and through his research, it's shown that people with dementia shows an improvement after taking this tablet. Okay. So what is in the trade secret? What's the ingredient of his tablet? Alright. The keutamaan pemfailan harta intelek adalah patent. So they prefer patents than other things. So I see sometimes people in the first year copywriting, like say logos. Okay, I mean logos. Okay, fine, but can a logo help the society to solve certain problems? So we want more meaningful filing of products. Pemfailan hak cipta dibenarkan bagi semua bidang, namun hak cipta copyright difahamkan mestilah relevan dengan projek pendidikan dan berimpak tinggi. Okay. Trade secret, these are the things that if you want to file trade secrets, telah melalui proses penilaian di peringkat institusi, mendapat pengakuan dari pejabat pemindahan teknologi dan pejabat undang-undang institusi, bukti hendaklah dikemukakan semasa pemantauan dan memohon pendaftaran harta intelek dalam negara sebelum di peringkat antarabangsa. And sometimes because you are required, depending from which discipline you come from or research cluster you come from, some industries will want to share the copyright. So share the patent or copyright, whatever, trade secret. So that's why it has to go through the your pejabat undang-undang, because certain things must be settled before the before you go further into commercialization. Right, setiap projek penyelidikan dimestikan untuk menghasilkan satu prototipe memenuhi ciri-ciri objektif yang diluluskan dan berjaya mendapat grant pra pengkomersialan dan pengkomersialan, dan tahap TRL 3 hingga 5. Okay, so you must reach 5 before you can apply. Okay, these are all very technical stuff, but if you are going to apply as the head of project, you must have at least 2 years of service, because sometimes, so if let's say, for example, I cannot apply because I will retire next year. So okay, so if I want to apply, I can only retire in, because if you work out, let's say you get it in June, I must be still in service by 2024 in June. So if let's say you're going to be retiring in January 2024, do not apply, because if you do apply, you'll just be, even though it's a great proposal, but because you don't have enough service left before you retire, it will be rejected. Okay? Because we had cases like this, you think that people will know that you should not apply, but there are still people who do try, because there have been cases where, that's why they had this, they have got this clause, because the many times the RMC had to write to KPT saying that, sorry, this person just got the money and then actually is retiring. So just be careful. It seems like common sense for us to think of it, but there are some people who still do not follow instructions. And so maklumat berkaitan tempoh perkhidmatan perlu dikemaskini dalam modul profil penyelidikan. So also the same with those on contract, especially if it's a foreign, an international lecturer, academic staff. If let's say the contract is left 1 year, then he or she cannot apply as well. Okay. So if you are going on study leave or on sabbatical, or you are going to do your postdoc, or you are going to be involved in an industrial attachment for more than 6 months, then you're not allowed to apply either. Okay. So please, so you will see here, it's indicated in the on the system. And then you must have minimum 2 researchers and maximum 5 researchers. And make sure that it's not, I may seem stupid to say this, but don't make it like, okay, I know some people, husband and wife work in the same university, or husband and wife work in 2 different universities, but don't make your husband or your wife as your co-researcher, okay? Because I've being a person who's looked through so many proposals, there have been cases where, ini suami dia, ini isteri dia, and they are in the same same research, but just 2 people. So try not. Do not do that, because somehow we can find out. Right, keperluan penerusan dan penilaian risiko. So you have to, there is this thing that you need to, it's not just a matter of putting 1, 2, 3, but you need to write a narrative. Okay, let's say there's one, okay, risiko technical you put 1, but risiko masa you may put 2. you may put low, medium, high, right? So maybe you put medium, like you think there'll be problems. So whenever it's more than one, you need to show how you're going to address this, like you understand it's going to be time is a factor. So how will you address this? For example, now it's, I don't know whether we've passed the worst of the pandemic or worse is going to come, because we see elsewhere the numbers are really, really crazy in the West. But we are at the moment, we seem to be quite comfortable with our numbers, but whether once they have reduced there, we're going to get hit by huge, numbers of COVID again. So one of the things may be whether, I think for FRGS, we put there, let's say your methodology requires you to meet people, or requires you to go to test it out in certain environment, which may be closed because of COVID. So you may need to address, if you put it down and you say that if this happens, this is your way out, So the last 2 years, for 2020, we've given 6 months extension to all research projects. And I think for 2021 also we gave 3 to 6 months. But it's been 2 years since COVID started. I think now they think that, okay, you know the constraints. So if let's say something goes wrong, you cannot say, oh, it's COVID, because it's been there for 2 years and they might not be so lenient in 2022. So just bear that in mind when you think of your methodology. If it's going to be dangerous, if let's say you're going to go overseas, which I think is possible to go overseas, but so many parts of the world are still closing borders, and you put money in for say travel to US or whatever, then that might be a problem, so, and you might not be able to spend that money. Okay. Here, please consider an appropriate approach to working in the current conditions: pandemic, travel ban, social distancing. Penyelidik dapat membuat perancangan lebih awal tentang kaedah menjalankan pendidikan, terutama semasa pandemik melanda. So you've got technical, timing, budget, low, medium, high. If let's say, so it's sometimes impossible. It's possible to put everything low, but it seems as though you are being too optimistic, or maybe are you being realistic if everything is low? If you do put high, you just say, okay, this is how I'm going to address this challenge. Okay, because last year we evaluated the LRGS, and LRGS, some of it will involve, traveling. I mean, lots will involve traveling. So there was one where they needed to use a boat. So then there was a problem with the boat, like the propeller was not working, So or some machines that needed to be sent elsewhere to be fixed. So these are things that can go wrong. Okay. So I do not know whether you are aware of the evaluation criteria, or whether it's, but I think, like all examinations, I believe that you need to know how you are being evaluated. Like this is the validity of an exam, is the students knowing how they're going to be evaluated. So you should know how you're going to be evaluated, okay? So you're going to be evaluated by these 10 constructs, 10 aspects of evaluation. 5% completeness of project background, 5% problem statement clearly defined, 15% methodology is robust and will enhance commercial viability, 15% prototype development that shows commercial viability, prototype development strategies that indicate characteristics that can enhance competitiveness. Prototype development demonstrate originality and innovativeness, experience, qualifications and capability of project leader, appropriateness of research team, contribution of prototype development and translational potential. So you see a lot of marks are given to methodology 15%, prototype development 15%, that means commercial viability given 15%, originality and innovativeness 15%. Okay, so so you are, if I don't know whether you can see it, but you're given, you know, very poor, acceptable, good, very good. Now normally marks between 75, you're given an opportunity to present. Okay, opportunity to present at this, that means that you've passed the screening level. Now you will present in front of the committee. So the problem is, not the problem, the challenge is you must get 7.5 to 8, or actually aim for 8. Aim for 8 to 10. 10 is almost impossible. Nobody's perfect. Perfect 10, maybe. But you must get between 8 to 10 for you to be able to advance to the second level, to the next level. So let's say you get, because you're given score 1 to 10, right? So let's say you get anything below 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the evaluator needs to say, okay, needs to comment on the section on the right. Comment section, compulsory score lower than 5, we must comment what's wrong. For example, we give you 4 for completeness of project background, we must say, why is it 4? If we give you 6 or 7, we do not need to comment. So I think there are evaluators who will give you 6 to 7. That means they do not need to comment, but you do not get the grant either. Okay, so so target for 8 and above. Means if you get 80, then you are, alhamdulillah, you will go to the next level. Okay, so how do you the tip is for you to, now that you know that this is how they evaluate you, meaning, okay, when you look at the the whole proposal, it must be a good proposal. But what makes a good proposal? Okay, this one, 10% translational potential. So this is what it means. I've said it just now. What you need to get for the translational means your products will be used by an agency or by a community, by somebody. It's not something that you've developed and it will just stay in your lab. How can this product translate in bridging the gap or solving a certain problem? Okay. So when I studied several models for patent, for getting patents or for getting achieving a product that's has got commercial value or that's original, these are some of the important aspects that you should explain in there's certain sections, meaning you will use these keywords. For example, you say, okay, it differentiates product, meaning this product, in what way it is so different? It is different from whatever you can see in the market. All black umbrellas and yours is the only red one. Okay, how does it give you competitive advantage? how it strengthen business relationship or enhance shareholder value or potential for revenue generation or protect pricing strategies. For example, some things is available in the market, but perhaps the value is so little that it's not, it will not generate revenue. So I'm not saying that you can have all this, because it's just, something that's small and you're just trying it in a lab condition. But if, let's say, you can visualize, you can project, make a projection that, and you can use some of these terms in your write-up, then perhaps when we read it, we can share the, the hope and the potential that this product may have for future use. Okay. Okay. I think I've said this before. I don't know about your university, but UKM, we have a standard letter that, that everybody uses. So maybe because sometimes the document that you submit in your application can be too informal. For example, we've seen the applicant writing to this possible collaborator an email, and instead of getting a response to the email, the applicant just submit the letter, that the email, meaning we do not even see the response of the person that she or he wants to collaborate with. So be a bit more, because it involves a lot of money, up to 500,000. So a bit more, take in more, put in more effort in getting the document. If, let's say, your university may have certain MOUs already with certain companies, okay? And also, another important thing that I've noticed is that sometimes the letter, because we read the letter that you upload in your system, the letter may, you are talking to a person who's not in a position to make decisions later. For example, let's say you need to get maybe not equal, maybe you want the company to help you, like use the lab or use certain machines free of charge. Let's say you work with Proton, or you work with, and then Proton may have certain machines, and you say, okay, I can use this machine free of charge. But you're talking to somebody in the, maybe the low level executive, who will say the letter, oh, I can get access to it, but when the actual time comes, you have to pay a certain amount of money for use of the machines, for example, okay, or use the lab. Then it's going to your budget is going to burst because of certain things. You've not allocated money for that, because you think that it's been, because of a collaborator, you will get this free of charge or something like that. So we'd like to see you, when you when you produce your your letter of collaboration, for you to be working from somebody who's in managerial position, who's able to make decisions, not someone who's, low level officers who possibly may even be transferred elsewhere, so that's the thing. I've noticed when we do our reviews after 1 year, a lot of the collaborators are not talking to the right people, or they're not, or maybe the right industry, but not the level of managerial positions. Someone who can make decision, who, when he says yes, everybody says, yeah, okay, that's the boss, right? Right. Then this of course you got to do this patent search. You got to go to http://lens.org, and it's not just a matter of saying, "Oh, my thing is new," but you actually have to write a short narrative, like a paragraph, to say, let's say, like and with patent search, um, they talk about something that's sunrise or sunset. Sunrise meaning there's a lot of potential for growth, whereas sunset research is research that's dying. That's, so if let's say when you look at, when you do this, your lens.org search, see how many, and of course you must find the right keywords. Something I noticed from UKM is that they will use the keywords that they have in their title, and of course that may be specific only to that person doing the research. So let's say, for example, like endangered languages, which is something my friends would do. I'm from the School of Languages and Linguistics. So if they say database for endangered languages, you may find it. But let's say they write in Malay, bahasa apa? Bahasa yang pupus. Maybe the terms are not there in lens.org. So whatever keywords you use, make sure that it's not the keywords that you're going to use, but you're looking at broad areas. So for example, there may be, most of the time, it's impossible if let's say somebody submits a proposal and put there 0 in lens.org, we know that the person has not done a proper search. It's impossible for it to be 0. Okay? So please check properly. Maybe the RMC can do some check, can look at the form and see if anybody put 0, for that person to go back and redo the search. Right. So the first thing that we will look at, the first thing that I will see when I evaluate would be the title of the title of your research. And the first thing that we will read full is the executive summary. Okay. So the title, try not to make it too long, and try not to use jargons that only you understand, because it must be plain language. Okay. If let's say you're in certain discipline, try and make it for the evaluators cannot be exactly the discipline that you're in. We are like, there are 2 geographers, there's someone in languages, someone education. So we're not specifically, it's hard to find specific evaluator for your research. So try and use plain language for the title. Convincing executive summary, clear research background, summary of previous research, clear objectives, description of prototype, description of the state, including information on, this is how, remember just now I showed you how you're going to be evaluated. So even the form is written in this way. Okay. So I think for the executive summary, you're only given 300 words. So use the words, make sure you comply with 300 words. You don't go beyond 301 words thinking it's okay. Once you see a red mark there, it's a technical knockout. Okay, so So normally, if you read the rubric of the executive summary, they say in the executive summary, they want problem statement, they want objectives, they want research methodology, expected output, and significance of the research project. So I want, as far as possible, follow the rubric. I don't know how many times I've said this to my friends in UKM, but still there are people who will put objectives first, who put problem statement last, So please follow the order that the form has given you. First state the problem statement is what, and then use the words. There are 3 objectives. Research methodology includes blah blah blah. So, and of course the objectives must be measurable, specific, measurable, achievable. Okay. Right. And the objectives, acceptable research objective to investigate, to determine, to assess, not to study, to see. These are not measurable objectives. Okay, so yeah. And do not use yes or no. For example, will this product be useful for the school? No, that's not the kind of research questions you want to ask. Okay. Or for example, you say to see whether or not this product will be good for the use of school children, something like that. No, it's not. It's just too simplistic. Okay, so when they ask for, so in the completeness of project background, 5%. What is it that you need to? So go back to the form. Say they want to know what did you achieve in the previous FRGS or other fundamental process that leads you to asking for this funding. Why is it important to get this funding? To get what did I write? Why is it important to get this funding? Sorry, it must be this one is wrong. Hang on. Oh, I cannot do it here. Okay, so which TRL was the previous research? If you could determine the TRL, the previous research, like you've got this certain, you think you can have this outcome and you can decide what the TRL is, and maybe you should discuss this with your UKM, with your technology office. We call it UKM Tech. So your tech office. If it's worth extending the research for you, you think that it's something viable, that the product will be viable, innovative, original, and so on, useful. Okay, so and in the even the project background, you should alert the reader, the evaluator, that there is something on cutting edge about your potential products. Okay, so it's the way you write it that's important, I think. Right. Problem statement is 5%. So the problem statement identifies and defines the issue. So meaning describe the current environment. Meaning there is this, you are aware based on your research, there is this gap that needs to be, there's this problem, this issue, which can be addressed by your product or by your, patent or your copyright, whatever. So describe the current environment, the issue and its effects on its intended audience, establishes the gap that requires for product to be funded. So always you need to establish the gap. What is it that makes your that you need to be funded? Okay, if for FRGS we say that your knowledge is new in the context of Malaysia, that there's no one else that has done that research, you are the first one, so it's totally new in ilmu baru, FRGS ilmu baru. In PRGS, there is this gap, opportunity for a product that can go viral and make you a millionaire, perhaps. Okay. So when I look at the when I look at the products, let's say the UTM has got a lot of products to do with cosmetics. I think one lady professor, she's now a millionaire. She made 10 million ringgit with her products using mangosteen, if I'm not mistaken. So we checked out UiTM has got lots of products to do with, well, I'm interested in cosmetic products, but there are others, of course. But so women are, okay, let's look at women. So older women will want to have products that can make them look younger. Or people who are forgetful or getting old may want products that can make them more alert. Or and for example, with the recent floods, and this food security was a problem because people were without food or had to get access to food. So in Japan, like I've eaten it before. Friends from Japan gave it to us. Like, a small packet. And then when you put the noodle with prawns or with lala, shells, you put hot water, it becomes a bowl of noodles, like what is it? Maggi mee. But Maggi mee, you need a big packet, but it's very small. It's like the size of 50 cents. So imagine if we could, I've not seen it done by, I don't know whether that's stealing somebody idea, but this is what I mean, meaning there is an opportunity, like we see the floods, so many opportunities. What research that could have helped us get the upper hand or help the victims in a quicker way, like for example, should there be, like say Taman Seri Muda, it's flood prone. So shouldn't there be, like, I don't know, some kind of innovation so that for whatever, if the problem arises, things can be handled so much more quickly. Because there were places where help only came after 3 days, 2 days, and so on. So to establish the gap that requires for product to be funded, it serves as a means of communication which helps get project buy-in. Okay, so the problem statement is also the space for you to persuade the reviewers to say, look, this is really, really important that you give me the money. So you are communicating, okay? And then you also saying that stakeholders confirm that this is an important issue, and what we're going to do will match whatever the society or whatever the agency needs. Okay, so you can have all this in your statement of the problem. Inshallah, I think we'll say, wow, this one is worth funding, okay, or worth giving a chance for you to present. Okay, methodology, 15%. It's not enough now to just say, oh, I just want to do, it says there, robust and shows commercial viability. Okay, I mean, these are the two things these are two phrases that's being used in the methodology section. Meaning they want to know that the method you use is robust, meaning it is strong. It is, if let's say, okay, let's say you try your product out for preschooler, you want to see whether if you try out this product, say in Besut, can it also be used in Kuala Lumpur? So meaning with whether whatever whatever locality or whatever age group you use, it can be across the board. It's robust. Okay, it's not like, okay, I'm going to use it here, it's only useful here. Okay, and has commercial viability. So I always tell my friends who are applying for this, sometimes you need to put, look at your time frame and then say phase one. Phase one is this what I'm going to do. Use phases in for UK research and innovation grants people. They use work packages, work package 1, work package 2, but here we use phase 1. I mean, I don't know how, but most of my friends who I teach them how to write the proposal. I said, okay, phase 1, what will you do? Phase 2, what will you do? Phase 3, what will you do? So the methodology is very clear. So we know sometimes when we, if let's say you want to say, okay, I want to, these are my subjects, 15 to 18-year-old. These are my locality. These are the localities I'm going to go to. Because you will translate this methodology will go back to the funding. Let's say you need to go to 4 places in Malaysia. You want to go to Kedah, Perak, Kelantan and Johor. So it will say, so go to Johor, how much money? Go to Perak, how much money? Go to Kelantan, how much money? You go to Sabah, Sarawak, how much money? So whatever you put in the methodology, you need to translate to the budget. Okay, let's say you want to try on 50 children or 50 women. Then are you going to pay them 10 ringgit each, or so all this will need to be specific. So we will always compare your methodology with what you ask for your funding. So sometimes you say, the person say Kedah. Even you say Kedah, you want to know where is it in Kedah. If you can be that specific. Okay. Then prototype development 15%. What it means is they're looking for commercial viability. So you're providing a solution that's desired, practical, and viable. You meet the user's demands, but also be simple to adopt and have a revenue model. Place an emphasis on feasibility and viability as well, and ensure that your product is sustainable. Meaning, what I see in in the last 5 years, a lot of people have applied for PRGS. They all want to do apps. Okay. Someone wants to do apps to that can alert them if they're going to have a heart attack. Okay. So, or someone wants to do an app for so many things. So the problem is, first, they will apply a lot of money for using 2900, and they put that one's for perkhidmatan ikhtisas. So they will hire. Problem is they will hire a developer to do it. So what's the job of the project leader, the principal investigator? So the problem is when you do an app, an app is like you got app 1.0, then 2.0, 2 years down the road is being 3.0 and so on. Even Apple, Apple phone, every year there's a new phone, new model. So we are thinking, is it sustainable? Let's say when you finish your money, who's going to upgrade to 2.0, 3.0 and so on? So you must have a plan to say that, UiTM tech company will take on this project for further development. So I once a long time ago, I was given funding to see whether Pencipta, the Pencipta should be continued or should be terminated. So I went to see the big bosses at the Federal Association of Manufacturers. Okay, I met all the president and all that to see what do they think of universities' products that we have produced so far? So they, and what one of the top bosses told me, they said, we want, at the end of the day, you want to make money, right? They want it to be, if the product is green, um, priced well, like it's well priced, like it's competitive, and it's locally produced. Okay, so a lot of times I think we are able to make it in the lab, like in the lab is there, but once it's out of the lab, so often we all will also ask how much. Let's say somebody says, oh, they want something that's quite popular also is a product where they use robots to help children with special needs for in reducing problems for reading and socializing and so on. So then, okay, sounds like a good, and then we say, okay, but robot, they must buy in China. And then so we say, what happens when the robot doesn't work? They got to send it back for, so, so where is our innovation? So therefore, I mean, it's hard, but I just want to alert that it has to be sustainable. It has to be practical. So if let's say you are using you have a model, but you need to use, like you need to buy the robot from somewhere, buy robot from Shopee, for example. So where is the innovation? Okay. Prototype strategies indicate characteristics that can enhance competitiveness. So perhaps you must begin with, that's why you need to even now talk about, have engagement with stakeholders. So engaging different stakeholders using a number of approaches, including interviews, surveys, focus groups, group brainstorming, and observation. So perhaps if you could show that your strategies, that, okay, you will be approaching stakeholders. This is what you will do with them. Engaging stakeholders early in the design process results in the formulation of product requirements that are more aligned with the demands of end users and stakeholders and fit with the environment in which products will be deployed. Okay, so it's important to, because I know kita di universiti ni, kalau kita short sendiri, we think, oh, very useful. But when it goes to the market, then we see that, oh, it's got lots of shortcomings. Okay, so how do we, so the best way is to engage stakeholder at every step of the way. Beginning, you say, I've got this idea. Do you think it's useful? Okay, and then when you are, so it's consistent engagement throughout. Prototype development, 15%. Things to consider, opportunity of recognition. So how did you arrive, or how do you arrive at saying to us that this is original and this is innovative? Okay, so you recognize an opportunity that this is the right thing at the right time. Okay, concept development, problem solving, and you're tackling a problem that you identified in an unattended market need. Okay, so this is where when you write this, bring into your discussion what you found for lens.org. Okay, write clear narrative for lens.org stating your originality and innovativeness. Okay. So methodology, the most important component. Oh no, sorry, this is actually 15%. Okay, influence. So what is good methodology? Okay, for example, like sample size, you divide methodology into several subsections, and how you not analyze the data. This is, but how you, analyze the data in terms of how is it going to be useful for the needs of whichever target audience you plan to have it for. Okay, and you have flow chart and so on. All right. Then composition of team, evidence of previous successful research projects, qualification and rank of researchers, well-balanced team. So let's say you are doing an app and you're all from, let's say like me, all from language or literature, then you need somebody like somebody from IT to be part of your team, so that we know this person is she or he may not be but she's got somebody who will help her design or something like that. Okay, so make sure everyone in your team has updated the migrant system, because we will check everyone. Okay, so sometimes someone has not updated their migrants for the last 5 years, so there'll be like maybe old research projects, old publications and so on. Okay. Prototype development, wealth creation, enhance quality of life, and you create or consolidate new industries. So, these are the things they're looking for. This is the rubric. In what way this is a form of wealth creation, meaning whether your product will be making lots of money for the university later on. I think UTM, UPM, they've got so many products. I think there's a product that I have bought from UPM. It's a cream for eczema that's very, very good. So I think that one makes a lot of money. So anyway, it's more difficult to, I can think a lot of products for the social sciences and, medicine, but very difficult to think of for the social sciences. But okay, at UKM, we've got someone who designed a pen to be used for children with special needs, so the pen, for example, let's say children cannot write properly, but after using the pen for a few months, the child can write more properly after that. Or there have been products made by social sciences as well that have been quite successful. I remember this is a long time ago, maybe, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, there was a application from your university, from the music school or music faculty. The researcher wanted to do a supplementary exam for local musical equipment. So for example, we've got exam for piano, for violin and so on, but we don't have exams for, say, gamelan, for the local musical instruments. So they managed to do the equivalent, not equivalent, but so we thought that's an interesting project, so we funded it. Okay, but just to show you what kinds of things can be done for those not in the sciences. Okay, and of course a lot of we have given money, for example, to projects to help researchers to inculcate awareness about the environment. So they use augmented reality and so on. So that have been given funding as well. Okay, translational potential. Choose, as I said earlier just now, choose your partners wisely, those in a position to make decisions, not the low-level executives who will not be able to make decisions, or or to because it's important that whatever, maybe when you work with the collaborators from industry, they can provide you say 30% of the funding or 50% of funding, or they can take on after that and so on. Or so for this, they put their collaboration, patent search, risk assessment, intellectual property. So all these are included in the translational potential. So that means because you see it being evaluated, make sure these are things that you include when you write up. Okay? Right, so this is the lens.org, and then why it's important, okay? And then again, I have, so now I just like to remind you that at the end of the form, there is this module, additional information. So there's this research collaborator, international industrial linkages. You got to tick and upload. Agency, organization, got to tick and upload. Okay, don't leave it empty, or do not dismiss this, because once you dismiss this, that means you will be, your proposal may not be considered by the evaluators. Okay. Right, this is the SWOT analysis. This is the risk, as I said just now, risk. So you got to talk about what's the strength, what's the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats. Okay, and this must be written in a paragraph, like an essay, a short one. Okay, funding. So you got 1100, V1100, V2900, V2400, V2700, 27,000, V28,000, V29,000, V35,000. Okay, so allowance or not GRA, allowance, I will here, allowance, RO or RA, maximum is 48,000. Okay, so I like to recommend you put there 48. Don't think, oh, I will ask for less. So ask for the full amount. We will never cut your allowance RA or RO. Okay. And it's so little. It's 24,000 per year, which works out to be 2,000 a month. Which is actually not that much. Okay. So don't try and save money and say, I just put 36,000. Okay. Put the full amount, 48,000. And then your 21,000, your perjalanan should not exceed 15% of your entire budget. And you can go locally or internationally, but they want you to go they put the cheapest way. Okay. 24,000 sewaan, you're allowed to sewa bangunan, peralatan, pengangkutan, penggunaan komputer, barangan lain secara langsung dengan pembangunan prototype. Okay, but you're not allowed, you can come and sewa building in UKM and you can charge, and you can but you cannot sewa something in UiTM and ask for money. Okay, so using facilities in your own university, that's not allowed to be charged. But you can use other people's facilities in their universities. That one you can use your funding. Okay. Right. Bekalan and remember, now we're not allowed to buy computers, whatever. So the way around this is for you to hire computers and so on. 24,000 bahan penyelidikan only, and so for now you're not allowed to buy paper, pen, hard drives, CDs, all not allowed. So think carefully what you can buy with this. 28,000 baik pulih. This is for if let's say you have a computer that's got very small RAM, then this is the opportunity for you to increase space and but you're not allowed to buy, but you can do things like you can buy extra things and to make your computer work faster. Perkhidmatan ITA 29,000. This is sometimes we see a huge budget, like 60%, like a huge budget will come from here. So perkhidmatan, normally they pay for perkhidmatan professional, like person who can design your AR or they design your app, So then we will say, okay, what does the head researcher do if everything is done by other people? So make sure when you submit, do not show as though everything you suruh orang lain buat and you're just the manager, okay? It should be that you are doing the work as well, okay? Accessory peralatan, only those related to your development of the prototype, okay? Tidak dibenarkan business plan, market survey. I mean, you're not allowed to pay for, you're not allowed to ask for payment for this. Product exhibition and promotion. Perjalanan bagi menghadiri sebarang persidangan, seminar, kolokium, conference, seminar, kolokium. Okay, so it's written there in the booklet. These are things you cannot ask for. That means you cannot put this in your application. Okay. Okay, what else you cannot use? You cannot use it to pay for any yuran keahlian. You know, you're going to be a member of some association, you cannot ask for it. Buku rujukan not allowed. Peralatan ICT dan komunikasi like telephone, laptops, printers, cartridge, so on, not allowed. But you know, there are exceptions. If let's say it's really necessary, then you can put in a justification why you need it. Okay, and we will consider. Okay. Pembayaran bil utility telekomunikasi, pembelian peralatan pejabat seperti alat tulis, pembelian peralatan storan, external drive, pen drive, CDs, pembayaran sewaan ruang di fasiliti masing-masing, pembayaran pemfailan. This is for you are allowed to use to file. Okay, you should put. So don't forget to put money for filing of patents. I think it's about you allowed 5,000 if I'm not mistaken. Lain-lain pembelian yang tidak berkaitan secara langsung dengan pembangunan prototype. Then your own RMC is not allowed to charge processing fee, whatever we call it. Okay. So this is the marking schemes. I said to you 1 to 2, 3 to 4, acceptable, good, very good. So you are aiming for this, good to very good. Because let's say you get 8, 9, and then when you get 6, they will still balance up to 75 or 75 to 100. But if you get 6, 6, 6, 6, that means you already knocked out. So to be able to get 8 to 10, that means pay attention to how you write your proposal. Okay, you need to influence or charm the evaluators, the reviewers, that your product is going to be good for Malaysia. So I've been talking about at the individual level. This is what you have to do to produce a good proposal. Then there is this also at the RMC level, because you've got internal evaluation before you can before your RMC can send on your proposal to KPT. So at the internal evaluation, they only accept professors and associate professors as the evaluators. Okay, and the problem, because what happens is that after the date cut-off date and all the forms are in the system, then there is this process of what we call penaziran. Okay, where we would check the process that has been carried out at the different universities. 1 to 2 days we spend time on looking at the process, and sometimes your proposal may be really good, but if the process at RMC is dodgy, meaning there has been some processes that have not followed the book, then the entire cohort of your a university can be dismissed. Okay, so therefore it's important to train your internal evaluators to evaluate carefully. The problem arises when because there's as I said before, there is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your let's say the internal evaluator from UiTM put 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, all 8, because to her is very good. So that's fine. Okay. But then she puts 8 or 9, but then she puts some comments there. Oh, please refine this objective. Please include the locality of this of your place of research. But because she put all 8 and 9, the system will say, oh, there's nothing to be improved. It'll just go straight to highly recommended. It will bypass the applicants the applicant who needs to do some corrections. So I've been involved in penaziran for some years. So this was the main problem. There were corrections to be made, but because everything was 8 and 9, 8 and 9, it bypassed. And then we noticed there were some significant corrections that needed to be made. But because it was the system itself very, I don't know, inefficiently, even though there were corrections to be done, but it went straight ahead to, okay, tak payah buat apa-apa. And so that's one thing. So please train, maybe I don't know whether doctor yang in charge of training the evaluators to check, but so that's one thing. Another one is sometimes, you need two evaluators. And so you need, so one evaluator will say, recommended, there are three, okay? There are three results. Not recommended and R, or HR. Not recommended, recommended, or highly recommended. So two evaluators, one person will put not recommended, one will put recommended. RMC must take another person to see which way should the application go. Should it be not recommended at all, or should it be recommended? So there must be a third person to moderate on the result. The RMC cannot. In many cases, we saw cases where one recommended, one R and R and R. The RMC put R, sent, or R and HR, the RMC put their HR and then sent. So this is where the problem is. Okay, so when the RMC makes decisions, ignoring that there has been a discrepancy in the way in which it was evaluated. Okay, so always find so the RMC must be very careful. And I know this one comes at the same time. PRGS and RGS, PRGS tutup sama-sama kan, same time, right? So it can be this is a cause for a lot of heartaches in the past for some universities, where the whole entire like 100 proposals have been, because what we do is we will check. They say, the system says check the 10% for discrepancies in process. So we check 10%, and we see some discrepancies, we check 20%. We end up sometimes checking 100%. And then once we do that, then we will swap, so we have a meeting, we say, okay, there's some discrepancies in this, say 5 institutions, for example, okay? So we will swap, another team will go and look into that 5 institutions, and they find the same thing, then they will decide with the big boss whether, what do we do with these applications, whether they need to be, all will be penalized or not, okay? So So this is the responsibility of the RMC. So RMC, you must be very careful if your staff has done a good job in producing the proposals, but if the RMC fails at certain process, it's going to be a lot of heartache. Okay, so there's a criteria panel dalaman, and then there should be pembetulan proposal, and then RMC tidak boleh mengubah R kepada HR or pada NR kepada R tanpa merujuk kepada keputusan terkini panel dalaman. I was with the RMC for 5 years, so I was often the moderator for cases where where there was a disagreement between two evaluators. So we do not submit everything to KPT. There were some that we just tolak, even from RMC level, because they both, like when we check, 2 or 3 people say, okay, cannot go ahead, not good at all, then we do not send it up. Okay, so there must be some quality control at the RMC level. Okay, be wise, don't plagiarize. Do not copy paste from previous field proposals or other people's, PRGS proposals. Do not copy paste from internet, because the system has got the system is quite clever. It will alert us if there's plagiarism. So say they'll send in red, plagiarism detected. It won't be alerted at the internal evaluation. It will be alerted only at the KPT level evaluation that plagiarism has been detected. Okay, so if let's say you are going to resubmit your proposal that you sent last year, you think, oh, I will fix this and I will resubmit, try and change, paraphrase certain things, because the thing is, if the same person resubmits, and then we notice there's this alert to say, then we'll check, oh, did you submit previously, then boleh dimaafkan lah. But let's say you take somebody else's proposal and it's been alerted by the system, then it's going to be, you'll be blacklisted, okay, by KPT. Okay, make your research relevant. So I think this is a dilemma that a lot of us have. We've got our discipline we want to excel in, but your research is using public money, so your research should be relevant to help the country's problems. So think about, what problems are we currently facing? I mean, in relation to what research you have done previously, do you have solutions to the problems which are research driven? Okay, so program focused grant givers don't just give their money to random people and then close their eyes about the results of that gift. They want to see the ROI. And for this PRGS, they want to see tangible ROI, meaning they want to see something that you have produced. Okay. Okay, so research is formalized curiosity, is poking prime with a purpose, engage the world you serve with purpose, rigor, and intent. And I wish you all the best. Okay, Doctor, I have finished. I shall stop sharing. Okay, stop sharing. Yeah, I hope that has been useful and not repetitive, what you've heard before.
It's okay. So you can refresh balik, so we can prepare ourselves. So they prepare our penyelidik semua to prepare and submit their PRGS. So we can have something like we just said before, to see something tangible product, right? So I open to the question and answer sessions. Anyone from the floor have any questions? You can put in the chat box, or perhaps you can unmute yourself and directly ask question to our Datin Professor, Dr. Ruzy. Any questions?
Actually, there are quite a lot of proposals from UiTM actually, and I think there are some very interesting ones. A long time ago, I saw one where they wanted to do wanted to develop car covers using daun pisang. I don't know how you do it, but very interesting.
Daun pisang. From apa? Health sciences ke? Prof?
I don't know, from graphic design something.
Oh, graphic design.
Yeah.
So for PRGS, you panel from social science and art, right?
Yes.
FRGS Prof ada ke?
Yeah. I'm also I head the economic cluster.
Economic cluster.
Yeah. I head the social science and economic cluster, economic well-being. I head that cluster. So I attend all the technical meetings with ketua pengarah and all that. So we decide on the final list of who gets the money and so on.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Salam.
Saya Fadil daripada Kejuruteraan Awam, Engineering. Saya thank you for the sharing. Saya interested lah, adalah semangat sikit nak isi orang PRGS ni. Tapi ada satu point yang saya request some advice daripada Prof, iaitu issue on the if development cost of the prototype is more than the PRGS shilling, state how you plan to obtain the remaining fund. Okay, in my case, saya punya projek sebelum ni FRGS, and then ada fund daripada industri. Tapi it's a small fund lah. Kita ada dekat UiTM, kita ada SRP fund, which is combination between UiTM and the industry. And then last year saya sukses dapat lah that grant. Cuma dalam penulisan proposal PRGS ni, kalau saya mention kata saya ada dapat that kind of fund, is it effect on the permohonan ni, applications ni?
No, saya rasa tak. Saya rasa itu satu yang bagus. Tapi doktor kena submit, macam upload lah surat kata mengatakan yang company tu bagi 10% ke. Kita suka kalau ada the collaboration has started. Maknanya ada masa depan yang cerah lah. Dia dah bermula, kolaborasi tu dah bermula.
Ya, kita dah ada MOU dengan company tu. And then by right kita kena complete the project by this year. Cuma itulah kita tak dapat lah sampai, sebab dia bagi kat saya dalam 20k. So that is impossible lah for me to complete the research which is 20k kan.
Yep.
So kalau saya maklumkan benda tu dalam proposal, dia tak mengganggu?
Tak.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Any more questions? Last before the deadline. Mungkin nak tanya tips-tips.
Bila bermula internal evaluation at the university level?
For PRGS.
On the 19th, insyaAllah, Prof. Datin, 19th of January.
Okay.
Sorry, we close on the 18th, and 1 week after that, 25th, 26th, minta maaf, by RMC.
Okay.
Prof, minta maaf nak tanya sikit lagi. Soalan ni nakal sikit, Prof.
Tak apa.
Saya dah lama sebenarnya tanya kenapa kita sampai tak boleh beli kertas, nak beli printer punya ink. Kan benda-benda tu sometimes macam tak signifikan lah. Memang research perlukan benda-benda tu kan. Tapi takkan tak ada anyone ke boleh voice up the things kan?
Itulah, ini okay, sebabnya dulu memang boleh. Dulu masa saya buat FRGS memang boleh belilah, beli paper, beli buku. Tapi I think there's been abuse by a number of pemohon. Yang problemnya kan UKM telah diaudit 2 kali saya rasa by KPT. Audit FRGS, PRGS sebagainya. Maknanya bila orang tu beli, tapi benda-benda yang tangible lah, macam komputer, dia beli komputer, dia beli laptop, dia beli printer, lepas tu nanti 2 kali yang KBT datang untuk audit ni, datang audit negara, okay? Walaupun dia kata KBT, tapi audit negara datang, dia nak tengok mana laptop tu sekarang. So, kita macam orang gila cari barang hari dululah masa I was at RMC, macam mana nak cari. There are cases where faculty dah berubah tempat, dah consolidate, orang dah meninggal ataupun so many things. So in the end, after a lot of discussion, because I think yang ni diperbaiki 2018 ke apa yang they also want to get the university, macam benda-benda yang remeh-remeh macam paper ni dia nak university lah fund, because they should be internal local internal grants given by your university to help you to buy paper, to buy hard drive, semua tu lah. Dia ingat university must help as well. There should be some budget by university to help the ni. Jadi sebab tu doktor dia kata patutnya universiti yang bagi benda-benda ni, paper apa semua benda ni. Tak bagi dah kepada RMC, KBT tak mau bagi dah paper ni semua. Dia nak bagi betul-betul yang researchnya.
Okey, faham. Terima kasih, Prof.
So macam yang Prof share tadi, dia tak nak something objektif yang to see kan, perkataan yang
tak ada boleh. Dia macam kita buat untuk MQA, guna apa tu?
Objektif measurable.
Yang tak boleh di measure, tak boleh kita tak tahu boleh siapa. Macam to see, what do you want to see? Macam tapi kalau kita kata to identify, to develop, macam tu dia boleh ni lah. Tapi kan kita tengok juga tau, dia tengok umpamanya social science kita boleh guna develop. Tapi saya rasa untuk SNT untuk engineering, kadang kalau develop dia kata ini macam bukan fundamental macam. So you kena, I'm sure there are people yang betul-betul, I will ask my friends sebab yang jaga engineering tu, ketua kelas engineering 2 orang, Prof Hasan dengan Prof Hamidi, dua-dua pada UKM. So ada 3 orang UKM yang dalam komiti cluster di KBT ni. Tapi cuma saya nak pesan nak kasih paling banyak apply is engineering. Engineering banyak sungguh apply. I think kalau kita ratio kan, maybe 50% will come from engineering. Maknanya kan 50% of the money will also go to engineering applications. Sebab dia ikut ratio cara duit dibagi adalah ratio kepada berapa banyak applications yang masuk. Maknanya kalau let's say 10% je masuk, or 100% only 10% social science, you only get 10% of the budget.
Itulah. Or any last tips ataupun last kata-kata from Prof Datin?
Okey, saya nak bila kita baca proposal tu, kita mesti menyedapkan mata. Maknanya kalau mana-mana macam formatting, kadang line tu dia terlebih kan. Jadi pay attention, maknanya the aesthetics of the proposal should also be should pay
so
attention.
is it true kalau macam as kata summary tu should be kita tulis last sekali, kita nak summarize betul-betul last sekali, bukan starting kan?
Yeah. Don't do it first. Saya rasa executive, you tengok semua tu, this is my executive summary, and use the keywords. Problem statement apa? Macam macam you kata tulis sebut gap tu apa, ataupun apa benda yang sangat diperlukan ketika ini.
Gaps, yes. And then how you fill the gaps tu second one, terus masuk objektif kita. Macam tu kan? Kena ada continuity for each sentence tu nampak.
Yes.
Dr. Zina, saya minta izin tanya satu soalan lagi boleh?
Boleh lagi. Yes, sure.
Prof, yang dalam prototype research grant ni, kita buat prototype and then kita test kita punya prototype. And then kita validate kita punya prototype result tu dengan lab scale punya result. And then boleh ke kalau kita kata kita dalam objektif tu, kita kata kita nak develop a new prototype based on data yang kita baru dapat?
Dia kan, kalau you kata something new, macam tak boleh lah, you cannot cari more data to cari macam kena buat research baru untuk buat prototype baru. Tak boleh. Dia based on whatever you have done ni, you boleh terus develop. Tapi mungkin you nak macam you let's say okay lah untuk social science umpamanya dia nak buat modul untuk membantu kanak-kanak yang for autistic children. Okay? Tapi tapi dia kata dia nak cari data lagi, nak cari lagi 100 kanak-kanak. So kita kata you dah ada data ni, you should be able to develop it already and then you try out on this group of students, group of special needs. Semaknanya kan, it's not the time for you to do another research. It's time for you to develop sahaja.
No, tapi kan prototype is a prototype. Kita
It's a
develop.
prototype, yes.
So kita kena test kita punya prototype
Betul,
tu kan.
yes. Yeah.
So lepas kita dah test, mungkin kita do some validation, confirmation.
Yes, betul.
And then we found that okay, there is some adjustment required untuk kita do the methods kan.
Yeah.
After the adjustment, kita kata kita develop produk terus macam tu.
Kalau you put in your steps dalam methodology tu, you taruh semua tu, you taruh macam first phase apa you buat, second phase you buat, and then sampai the end. So at the end of it kita nak tengok what is it that you bila I can understand yang okay, produk ni memerlukan selepas you try it out, you maybe memerlukan some further development. So that one you include your methodology. I think that's fine. Tak apa. Tapi yang polisi tunjuk yang proposal ni adalah hasil daripada projek you yang dulu. Dia bukan kita start from zero. Kena kata kita stop sini and we want to continue for another 3-4 steps. Okay? Tak boleh cakap from zero lah. Dia kena tengok in what way your previous research is helping you develop further whatever you're doing. Yeah?
Faham?
Yeah.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Prof Ruzy, Prof Datin Ruzy, saya mohon untuk tambah sikit yang Prof Datin dah explain.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Fadil, apa Prof Datin mention tu betul. And on the TE side, Technology and Engineering side, maybe you can actually put in your objective you want to evaluate and validate that in a real environment ke, that reach the TRL level of 5 ke, kat situ stress kan lah. Jangan tunjuk macam nak guna data baru untuk validate tu, itu nanti sebab dia tak nak ada unsur research dah. Dia tak nak kita ada bukan unsur research barulah, ataupun new data collection kan tak perlu. But just put dalam methodology macam yang Prof Datin suggest tu okay lah. Ya?
Maksud saya, Prof, yang selepas kita dah bina kita punya prototype and then kita test kita punya prototype, kemudian kita validate kita punya prototype dengan lab work yang kita dah buat previous research. And then do we have to mention dalam objektif tu kata kita kena close up kita punya research ni dengan come with a final product. Is it macam tu?
I think just mention dekat methods macam Prof Datin suggest. Jangan dalam objektif. I think that would be better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also I think doctor, kalau macam because I said this just now macam you're always engaging with the stakeholder. Who will be the end user of your product? Maknanya at every step of the way you are engaging them because at the end of the day they are going to use it, right? It's not macam kita tinggal dalam lab je. Jadi kalau you could show the methodology that there's always this engagement. Maknanya if let's say something benda yang stakeholder kata ni tak cukup lagi, we need one more step. So you are always the problem with a lot of the PRGS punya research so far, even after we have evaluated and tengok dia punya tu, ialah dia tak ada engagement tu. Dia short sendiri buat. Dia kata, so we say, you put in here in your proposal yang you nak collaborate dengan ni. You dah jumpa dia tak? Have you had meetings with them? They said no. When do you intend to do it? Or we'll do it at the end. What if at the end of it they say, oh, we're not interested in this product? So saya mohonlah doktor, kalau doktor can show in your letter, but you already, like you say you got 20,000, maybe you can show that you've already got interest from that company and that you want to continue further, you know. And then masa, like say insyaAllah kalau you get to the level of presentation, you bring along your partner to say, you know, so they know that you're serious with your product.
Thank
Okay?
you, Prof.
Yes, okay. It's already 4:50. Ada lagi soalan ke? So I believe this is the end of our session for today. Okay, to our speaker, thank you so much for your very wonderful and for your sharing sessions and presentation. It's been our pleasure to sorry to say sorry. It's been a great pleasure for me to host this event, and I wish you all best of luck. And the attendance link will be opened just for 10 minutes. All right, please fill in the attendance link in the chat box. Okay, and wishing you all having a productive weekend. Once again, thank you very much. And wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sorry dah tersasul dah petang-petang ni dah, Prof.
Okay, have a good weekend. Thank you.
Okay.
Best.
Thanks, Prof. Ruzy, for your time. Thank you.
I hope to see many of your proposals getting to the final stage and getting awarded by the grant.
InsyaAllah, amin.
Recommended 70 and above semua atas-atas je.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Okay, so teruskan mengisi ya, everyone. Thank you. Dr. Yana, ada kata link tak boleh klik tu?
Link tak boleh klik sekejap ya.
Link apa tu yang dia tak boleh klik tu dekat chat box? Copy kot. Saya boleh klik, tapi kalau you tak boleh, you copy the link and isi. Copy the link and copy paste ke URL.
Copy lagi sekali, dapat tak?